A few days ago, I went to 2 owl cafes in Japan. They're basically cafes where you can pet and play with owls. And at the first cafe I went to, I had a good experience. But it turns out the second cafe I went to is abusing animals, at least in my opinion. So let me show you how I found out. At the first cafe, I could see that the owls there were able to fly around whenever they wanted. So they could get some exercise whenever they wanted. And if they don't like being touched by humans, they can just fly away to get some distance. I also noticed that the cafe was very quiet. And so the owls there were able to sleep whenever they wanted during the day or at night. Overall, I would say it was a good environment for the birds. Maybe it's not quite as good as living in the wild, but I could see that the employees there were doing their best to make the birds as comfortable as possible. Now, after having this experience at the first cafe, I went to the second one. As soon as I entered this one, I could see that it was very different from the first cafe. By the way, I was not allowed to take videos there, so I'm only gonna show still images in this video. Now, the first thing I noticed at this cafe is that most of the owls there were shackled with these very short leashes. So they couldn't fly whenever they wanted to get exercise or to get away from humans. So during the day, they're tied up with these very short leashes, and at night, they're put into small cages. I also noticed that there was a lot more noise there. There were multiple speakers blasting out loud music, and I can't believe this part, but there were even other kinds of birds there too, crammed into the same space, and they were also really loud. According to an owl expert I spoke to, owls are very sensitive to sound, so they can't easily sleep and rest fully if there's too much sound around them like that. I also noticed that many of the owls there had only one of their eyes open. I didn't see this particular behavior at all at the first cafe. Apparently, it's a sign that they want to sleep fully, but they can't because they need to prepare for attacks by their predators. Anyway, when I went there, I was really angry and sort of pissed off, both as a Japanese person and as just a human being. And all of this is really upsetting, but what's the solution here? Well, I have a few suggestions. Number one, if you do decide to go to an owl cafe in Japan or anywhere else for that matter, do some research beforehand and make sure that the owls at the cafe you want to go to are able to fly around freely whenever they want, and that they are in a quiet environment so that they can sleep whenever they want. Number two, if you don't mind sparing 30 seconds of your life right now, please share this video so that we can hopefully raise the awareness of this issue. Number three, I think in the long term, there needs to be more regulation in this industry in Japan. And I only say this because the current regulation is clearly not working. So I set up a petition to change this regulation and improve the condition where these owls are kept. And once I receive, let's say, 1,000 signatures on this petition, I'm going to go ahead and send it to the Ministry of the Environment in Japan, which is responsible for this type of regulation. Honestly, even if I do receive these signatures, I don't know if it's going to make any difference at all, but I really want to do everything I can do here because I was just really sad to see the condition some of the owls are kept in. Anyway, I'm gonna put a link to the petition right here and also in the description of this video. And thank you so much for watching this video.